Hi there, this is Terry from Stamping Magic. Welcome back to my channel. Today's project is this small wrap box. The box is held closed by some gold thread that's wrapped around two brads. And inside I have a mini box of Gillian chocolates. So let's get started. I'm using the Simply scoreboard for my scoring today. All the scoring measurements will be in inches only. I'm starting with a piece of Pool Party cardstock that measures 11 inches by 8¼ inches. I'm placing my cardstock onto the board with the longest side across the top, and I'm going to score down at 2½ inches, 3 5/8 of an inch, 7 3/8 of an inch, and 8½ inches. Then I'm going to turn my cardstock so the short side is across the top, and I'm going to score down at 1 1/8 of an inch, 2 1/4 inches, 6 inches, and 7 1/8 of an inch. There's very little cutting needed to complete this box. All I'm going to do is remove the 4 sections on each of the corners of the cardstock. This is what the piece should look like once it's been cut. You've got the side sections, the back section, and the front section. Now the next thing I want to do is mark the center point on the front section. So I'm just using a ruler and a pencil just to place that mark. You can then go ahead and fold on all the score lines and use your bone folder to reinforce those folds. You can also use a paper piercing tool to pierce the hole that you marked on the front section. I'm decorating the side sections next. I have 4 pieces of powder pink card which measure 3 5/8 of an inch by 1 inch, which is 9.2 centimeters by 2.5 centimeters. And I have 4 pieces of the Designer Series paper in powder pink from the In Colour 6-inch stack, which measure 3½ inches by 7/8 of an inch, which is 8.8 centimeters by 2.1 centimeters. Now you want to layer the paper onto the cardstock and then add each of these panels onto your box. You can then go ahead and pierce the hole on the front section again through that decorative panel. For the closure, you want to punch out 2 1/2-inch circles from Pool Party card. Pierce a hole in the center of these and then add a gold brad from the Metallics brad pack. Push the brad through the Pool Party circle and then into the front panel of your box. Now when you open the legs on the reversed, make sure you don't make the brad too tight. You want it quite loose so you can get the thread round later. The second brad and Pool Party circle we'll use later on the top of the box. To create the panels for the top of the box, you need a piece of powder pink card that measures 3½ inches square, which is 9 centimeters square. You also need a Whisper White mat, which measures 3 3/8 of an inch square, which is 8.6 centimeters square. For the stamping, I've created a mask out of copy paper. This is the same size as the white mat, and I've used the layering circle framelets, the one down from the largest plain circles, to die cut a circle from the centre of it. I've added some temporary or removable adhesive onto the reverse of this mask, and then I've tapped the whole piece onto my jeans to reduce some of the stickiness. This will help when removing the mask to ensure that it doesn't tear the cardstock. Sometimes it can catch and tear it. I'm using all 5 of the 2017-2019 in colours, as well as Pool Party for the stamping. The stamps that I'm using is the Beautiful Bouquet, and I'm just using some of the very small floral images from that set. I've allocated each of the images its own colour, and then I'm going to just randomly stamp these all over that exposed circle to fill it in. I'm starting by stamping the images around the edge of the circle. Because you've got that slight lip where the copy paper is, you have to be a bit more careful when stamping there. And once I've done that, I'm just going to fill the rest in. Once you've completed your stamping, you can carefully remove the mask. Any residue of glue that's left, just run your finger over it and that will remove it. You can then add your stamped panel to your powder pink mat. Next, I'm going to mark the position for the second brad. This needs to be halfway across and approximately ½ inch in from that bottom edge. You can then go ahead and pierce this hole. You can then add your second gold brad through your Pool Party circle and then in through the hole you pierced in these mats. Again, when you open the legs, don't press the brad down tightly, just leave it loose so there's enough room for the thread. Obviously this panel will go on the top of the box. I'm going to position it into place using dimensionals. I'm going to add 2 rows of dimensionals onto the panel itself, and this is towards the top of the panel. And then I'm going to put my 3rd row on the box itself, just up from that bottom edge, so they're not going to show. Then I can go ahead and remove all the backings from the dimensionals. and then add this panel to my box. Now you can use any thread or baker's twine for your closure. I'm going to use some of this retired gold thread. Now you want about 6 inches, which is 15.5 centimeters. All you have to do is take one end and hold it in place, and then wrap the other end in a figure of 8 around the bottom brad and back up around the top brad. Then you can trim your ends. I'm using the Thank You Thinlits die for my sentiment, and I'm going to cut it from gold glimmer paper. I've already added some of our double-sided adhesive sheet to this on the reverse, so when you peel off the backing after it's been cut, that will expose the glue. Now, instead of adding several cut card layers underneath my sentiment to add dimension, I'm going to try something different, and I'm going to cut one layer from Fun Foam. I've put the multi-purpose adhesive sheet on the back, and I'm going to see how this performs. So once each of these have been cut, you need to remove the backing from that adhesive sheet. Just very carefully, you don't want to tear your sentiment. It's quite an intricate die, this. And then you want to position your glimmer paper, thank you, onto your Fun Foam, thank you. Usually I cut 3 or 4 extra layers from card to stack behind my sentiment to add the dimension, and that's quite easy to layer up and it's quite quick to do. I did struggle a little with the Fun Foam because it's so pliable and soft, but we got there in the end. Of course, it could be that I just need a little more practice at doing it this way. Once you have your 2 layers together, then you can go ahead and remove the backing from your adhesive sheet on the reverse of your foam layer, and then position your sentiment onto the top of your box. And there we have it, the box is now complete. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this project. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notifications bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. Bye for now.